All right. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us on this week's edition of the Arkansas Broadband Leaders Network. We have an interesting uh, call today, some new information coming out to talk with you about today. So we'll go ahead and get started and get right to it. On the agenda this morning, first, as always, broadband program updates for everyone. And then we have two new pieces of content for you this morning. One, the Arkansas Broadband Progress Hub that we launched this week, first of its kind. And so we'll preview that with you today. Then we'll talk about BEAD non-deployment, specifically an investment framework that I put out yesterday, actually. And we'll talk through that. It's nothing official. It is simply, in my opinion, that I put out yesterday regarding essentially a proposed investment framework for non-deployment. And so we'll talk through my opinion piece and talk through what that looks like there. Okay, to get started with the Arkansas BEAD program this morning at the state level. To date, our team has executed BEAD grant agreements with two ISPs, Brightspeed and Decatur Telephone Company, or you may know them as Rally Networks. So those two ISPs are the first two that we have had sign agreements in the Arkansas BEAD program. Really excited about that. Those two grant agreements cover over 14,000 homes and businesses across the state in the following counties: Baxter, Benton, Clay, Columbia, Crawford, Deshay, Franklin, Fulton, Independence, Izard, Jackson, Johnson, Logan, Lone Oak, Nevada, Phillips, Pope, Pulaski, Randolph, Scott, Sebastian, Sharp, White, Woodruff, and Yale. So those counties represented here in these 14,000 locations. I'm really excited to get these first two grant agreements executed with more to come. Quick screen grab here from our provisional results dashboard. So these are the locations that represent those 14,000 out of these two grant agreements with both Brightspeed and Decatur Telephone. You can see here kind of where they are distributed across the state, and linked here in the bottom left is a link to the dashboard. So as you're going through the PowerPoint a little later, that always comes to you courtesy of Noah following these calls. Feel free to click there and it'll link you directly to our provisional results dashboard that shows this and all the other providers, all of the locations, and so forth. But again, these locations are represented. These are the 14,000 locations covered by the two grant agreements that have been executed to date. Okay. We continue to sign BEAD grant agreements with ISPs on a rolling basis. That continues. Again, we've had the first two signed paper, but we'll continue with a rolling basis with the other 15 ISPs that we need to sign grant agreements with. The second round of BEAD awards here at the state side were approved by the Legislative Joint Budget Committee back on April 28th. So in between our last meeting and today, our second round of BEAD awards was approved by JBC. That's exciting there. And all BEAD awardees now have received legislative approval. Okay, quick look at the immediate timeline in the BEAD program. Not a whole lot really has changed here since last time we've met. Rounds 1 and 2 of our BEAD program awardees have received legislative approval, like we just covered. We're executing grant agreements on a rolling basis. And then, Q2, Q3 estimations here for our providers to complete their project environmental reviews and also then receive a notice to proceed and construction can begin. And shovels can go in the ground once that happens. So again, Q2, Q3 this year, we expect shovels in the ground. At the federal level in the BEAD program, NTIA has not yet released its revised guidance on non-deployment funds, which is a very good segue into what we'll talk about in just a second on the framework that I put out yesterday. But first, the Arkansas Broadband Progress Hub. So on Wednesday of this week, we launched really a first of its kind Broadband Progress Hub. Look, one of the most common questions that we get, very simple. When is broadband coming to my area? Right? I've probably heard that question hundreds of times since I've been in this role the last 4 years. And now you can track broadband deployment across the state in real time. You can check your address. You can view what service is available today, what is planned, and when it's expected to be delivered. So again, we launched this and announced this on Wednesday, and we're going to go through a couple of screenshots real quick, and then I'll bring it up here and kind of play with it a little bit and show you how it works. Okay, so when we get in, and we'll do this in a second, but again, a couple of screen grabs. You start out, there's a sort of a entry page that you click through to then get to the home page. Here, there will be a pop-up that we'll see that'll happen where you can kind of input your address there, but we'll continue on. Beyond the home page, the first sort of access page for you really is to be able to check your address, okay? And we'll look at that in a second. One of the coolest features, really, I think, of this, the Progress Hub, is being able to track BEAD program deployment in real time. So what's going to happen is that as our BEAD awardees, the ISPs themselves, are out in the field and they're building out these projects, they are going to update their progress in real time within our platform. And it's the same platform that runs this publicly for you, right? So ISPs are out, they're building, they're connecting homes, and they're connecting businesses and getting their projects built out. They're going to update their progress in real time on a monthly basis within our system. And that will then reflect on the public-facing progress dashboard that you see here. So what does that mean? In reality, that means that as they're building, we should get monthly updates that will feed into this portal system and be publicly available. So again, it's a way for you to track in real time on a monthly basis what's getting built, where it's getting built, and kind of see those projects progress in real time. Is going to be very interesting, and I think a very good resource for the general public. There's also a BEAD project listing available for export, so that's a part of the dashboard as well. And again, progress.broadband.arkansas.gov is the link for the dashboard. So I'm going to go ahead and go to it now before we talk about the framework for non-deployment. Take this. Okay, we should be back live, and you're seeing, or should be Google? If not, let me know. Okay, so progress.broadband.arkansas.gov is the landing site for this new Broadband Progress Hub. Click through this first page. Got some cool features that it'll show off here when you open. And again, kind of by default, it'll give you this little animation and then a way to check your address. I like to simply go to the top here and click check address. And so we'll start with one. We'll start with See My Home, just to give you an idea of how it works. Up. I think a little bit. Okay, so as you key in an address, it'll show in the drop-down menu. Click it. It's going to think a little bit, and so it'll immediately show you kind of the broadband story at that location. Okay, so for my house, not part of a grant program, we already have service, right? So it's going to show you what service is available at that particular location. From the different companies, the types of speeds they offer, and the technology offered by those companies. Now, it'll also do the locations, right? So you've got, for example, my house, service is already there, and it showed you But if you key in a location and it's part of a BEAD grant award, I'm just going to click this one because I don't know the particular address, but I'm going to click on it here. If you would have keyed this in there, again, drop down, click it, it'll show you. So not only are you getting the services that are available today, the companies and types of technology and the speeds, but you're also seeing that this is a BEAD grant location, okay? BEAD funded award, better services coming soon. It tells you who won it. This particular location was won by Amazon in their LEO satellite service. Okay, so it tells you that, speeds offered, and expected offering timeline as well. Okay, very cool stuff. Very cool stuff. Now, again, I think the best feature of the Broadband Progress Hub here is the project map. Right. So again, as build out happens, ISPs are out in the field getting their networks built out as a result of the BEAD program. When they put in their construction updates within the portal system, it will feed into this publicly available system. And so again, you'll be able to track progress in real time, what construction looks like, and the progress that's being made across the state. Lastly on this, there is a BEAD project list for export. I know some folks are data people and you enjoy getting access to data and sorting and playing around with it. That's available here for you as well. And again, anybody has questions, please feel free to put them into the chat box and we'll get to them during the Q&A/discussion part at the end of the call on the Broadband Progress Hub. Again, first of its kind. I think we were the first state to be able to launch this in partnership with our software partner, Ready.net. So again, excited to get this out to the public. I'll stop sharing again. Bring PowerPoint back up. A little bit under the weather today, so just bear with me. Okay, so yesterday I put out a proposed framework for investment for BEAD non-deployment funds. We've been down this road for a long time now. In case, just to set the table for anyone, as an example, Arkansas was the recipient of $1 billion grant award through NTIA for the BEAD program. We were able to very efficiently run our infrastructure deployment piece of the program for about $300 million, leaving remaining funds, right? And so, the policy landscape around what to do with the remaining funds has been evolving for quite a while. We've been waiting on guidance for quite a while. And so, you know what? Let's put a proposed framework out there and see what happens. So with that, we'll cover it now. Quick disclaimer, and I'll read this to its conclusion before we go into it. This proposed framework is my written opinion. It reflects my current thinking on a potential framework for BEAD non-deployment investment. It is intended to inform policy discussions, both here in the state and across the country. Any examples contained in the thought piece were strictly illustrative in nature, not meant to be exhaustive. Obviously, the policy landscape governing BEAD non-deployment investment continues to evolve, and nothing in the document should be interpreted as a commitment by Arkansas or NTIA regarding the permissibility of approval of any specific investment category. You are encouraged, obviously, to review official NTIA and other federal and state resources for the most current guidance on allowable uses of BEAD funds, and a PDF of the document is available there for you. Okay, so a new phase of the BEAD program. Look, Congress was clear when it wrote the BEAD statute. Deployment is the priority, but it is not the only purpose. NTIA's June 2025 restructuring policy notice rightly prioritized cost efficiency in the program and accelerated deployment. In states like Arkansas, that approach worked. This left an open, important question: how to responsibly deploy remaining funds once the core deployment mission is complete. So really, the question is not whether these funds can be used, it's how they should be used, okay, to best address the unique needs of each state. I believe that the best path forward is a phased, sort of cascading approach. We need to ensure that investments remain grounded in infrastructure, tied to broadband, and aligned with measurable outcomes. You can think of it really as a set of dominoes, okay? Each must fall in order. So here's what it looks like. The domino framework. Domino 1, I believe that we need to finish the job, okay? So even the best deployment programs can leave gaps. You look at RDOF, you look at other programs around the country, there are defaults. Things happen. Locations get left on the board, right, that were previously planned for. I think the first priority of any state with remaining funds should be a targeted cleanup round to take care of those locations, okay? That's domino 1, finish the job. Domino 2, strengthen core infrastructure. So you want to strengthen systems that support long-term connectivity and economic growth. Think about middle mile connectivity. Think about mobile infrastructure that needs to get built out. Think about permitting reform and streamlining that needs to happen, okay? So domino 1, finish the job. Domino 2, strengthen core infrastructure. Domino 3, let's turn that connectivity into economic growth. Communities must be able to harness connection and turn it into growth. Investments in those gaps, translating new connections into economic output, and ultimately stronger wages and GDP growth for our state. So again, a cascading approach, one domino after the other. Domino 1, let's finish the job on our homes and businesses and CAIs. Domino 2, let's strengthen our core infrastructure. Let's look at middle mile investment, mobile tower investment, permitting, streamlining. And domino 3, let's leverage that new connectivity and drive economic growth across Arkansas. All right, so what would be some guardrails for responsible investment? I think for any non-deployment framework to succeed, it must be grounded in clear principles. Okay, 1, every investment must maintain a direct connection to broadband. 2, those funding gaps must be real, right? We have to look for investment opportunities where there's no other federal or state dollar that's already covering those opportunities. 3, the program design must be executable, okay? We have to execute this program. I think 4, accountability must be built in from the start. And then lastly, the framework should maximize, okay, co-investment opportunities. We should want to try to leverage private sector match, capital infusions. Let's take this remaining funding that we do have, about $650 million or so, and let's see if we can leverage that out, cross the $1 billion mark in investment, and meet people where they are. These are not new ideas. These are the same principles that have guided successful deployment programs. Really, I think this is a moment of opportunity for NTIA. NTIA has shown that a disciplined, cost-focused approach can deliver real results like we did here in Arkansas. Through the benefit of the bargain reforms, states were able to stretch taxpayer dollars further, expand coverage, and move more quickly towards shovels in the ground. We achieved the highest degree of success and savings here in Arkansas. NTIA now has the chance to take what has worked and build on it. With clear guidance, the program can move forward in a way that finishes the job on access, strengthens the systems that support long-term connectivity, and helps turn broadband into real economic growth for communities across the country. I think that the domino framework offers a simple way to think about that next step. Let's make sure no community is left behind, strengthen the infrastructure and the processes that make deployment work in the first place, and focus on what comes after the connection. Looking forward, states do not need to wait for perfect clarity from NTIA to begin preparing. We can document the connection between proposed investments and broadband outcomes, We can engage industry partners. We can develop evaluation criteria, and we can build the administrative structures needed today to execute when the guidance finally does arrive. And we're already working on it. We're doing this now. In the end, look, access is the first chapter of the story, but what comes next will determine whether that investment delivers its full promise. If we get it right, broadband will not just connect our communities across the natural state, it's going to help power their economic future. Okay, that in a nutshell is the proposed framework that we put out yesterday. It'll be linked, obviously, within the document. It'll be attached. I told Noah to go ahead and attach it for you in the communication that comes out. And so we'll see what happens. Again, nothing official. It's not a plan. It is a proposed framework that I think makes sense. And we'll see what NTI thinks about that. So with that, let's open up the floor. We'll go to chat box first and see if we have anything. We'll talk through those. And if anybody wants to come off of mute, we can do that too. Let's see. I have to scroll through the 45 note takers. Let's see. Okay, let's see, Mark. Progress tracker is a really great idea. Well done. Yeah, look, I mean, transparency should be the name of the game across the country and broadband offices and what's happening. And so for us, having a way to show construction progress in real time is the name of the game, right? You know, people deserve to know what's going on. People deserve to know the progress that's happening around them and when it's coming. And so we're doing the best that we can to be open and transparent. And we think this is a great tool for everyday folks, for legislators, for stakeholders, really to have a nice deep dive into what's happening. We think that's the way to go. And we hope other states follow our lead. Thanks, Alexis. Appreciate that on the tool. Let's see, Timothy, do you have any feedback on yesterday's announcement? It looks like there's a link. AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon plan to launch new joint venture that helps in dead zones. So I haven't actually read that, Timothy. So I don't want to comment on it. Haven't read it, but we'll take a look and we'll give it a read and see what that has to say. And thank you for linking this because I have not read up on that yet. Sometimes it's fun. I know we have plenty of time on today's call, and if people have to jump, that's fine. Sometimes it's fun to bring up a tool and interact with folks and maybe input an address and take a look and see what that looks like. So if someone wants to check an address with us this morning, we can do that. Take a look and use the tool and see what it says. So if someone wants to input an address, whether it's a home or a business or a community anchor institution, if someone wants to input an address in the chat box, we'll take a look on the tool and see what it says for you this morning. And if not, that's okay too. All right, we'll give it just another minute or two here, just in case. You never know. Sometimes people are typing out a long question, so I'll wrap here, and then we'll hop off. Look, use the notes that Noah sends today. Go click around. Have fun exploring the new Progress Hub. Mess around with it. Key in your address. And it's a good tool to leverage for constituents. Okay, so if you're a mayor, if you're a county judge, if you're a state legislator, and folks are sending you questions about what's going on and what the progress is, because we get that all the time. You know, we get notes from folks and they want to know a status update. Direct them to the Progress Hub. Right, let the system work for you and be a value add for you. Okay, with that, we'll let everybody go. Appreciate you hopping on this morning. The notes will come shortly, and we will see you next time. Appreciate it.